Let's make our own dubbing and then build a jig. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of SDG. Glad you are here to join me for a little different, little special lure build today. So those of you that have been around the channel for a while, you know that I buy my rabbit in full hides. So here's a nice green one that I have yet to cut up, but I got it off of eBay, actually, really nice. Very squared off. A lot of them don't come like this. But I buy them like this so that I can cut them as long and as wide as I want to. But inevitably, when you do this, you end up with scrap. I mean, look at this big divot here. I'm gonna level that off so I have nice strips. You can see it kind of widens as it goes. So I'm gonna cut a straight strip down. Inevitably, like I said, you lose some of this. You can't really use it, and you end up with a little bit of waste. So I don't throw that stuff away. That's what you see here. So this is a black one, obviously. There's a foot. Here's a foot. You can see where I trimmed it down. A lot of good hair on here. So what do you do with it? Well, I've held on to this stuff for quite a while, and I'm thinking, let's make my own dubbing with it. That sounds pretty cool. So, as everybody does, you look it up on YouTube, right? And I saw, I don't know, 4 or 5 different guys that did it. I can't remember them all, so I'm not going to try. But basically, the idea is you get a coffee grinder, you get a razor or a shaver buddy thing, and you shave off some of that fur, you stick it in here. You can either just go with that, you can blend colors, you can add some flash to it, which is what we're going to do today. This is Ice Dub Minnow Belly, just for a little sheen. And then you just pulse it. You pulse it until it's mixed up well, or until if you put multiple colors in, the multiple colors get mixed up. And you make your own dubbing. I mean, what the heck, right? So buy little containers and you're good to go. So that's what I did. I went to Amazon. I'll link it down below for you. This was like 15 bucks. I got this at Walmart, so I'll try to find something similar to it, if not the same exact thing, on Amazon. It's a little small, but we're taking small bits at a time because this coffee grinder fills up really fast. So it does the job. And then, yeah, we're going to add, like I said, some minnow belly, and we're going to make our own dubbing, and then take that dubbing and build a jig with it. We got a little crappie jig today. Don't judge me. This is a VMC. I did not make this, right? This is a VMC 1/8 ounce. I don't know what they call it, but it reminds me of a moon eye. I think it looks pretty cool. And it's got this black and gray thing going on. So we're going to use this today to build a crappie jig using our custom black dubbing, rabbit dubbing. We're going to use some gray squirrel as the tail, which is going to be a nice complement, I think. And then since we've got black and gray in the gray squirrel tail, we've got black bright dubbing. I got a piece of gray saddle hackle because I'm feeling a woolly bugger today. I think that's going to be pretty cool. Only other thing I would add is some black flash boo to the tail, and we'll have a jig by the time this is all said and done. But first things first, let's go make our custom rabbit dubbing. Alright, so here we go. We've got all of our goodies here. First thing we're going to do is get some room. And we don't need a lot of this. A little bit goes a long way. So, hide is underneath. We'll just shave a little bit off. Okay, that should be more than enough. Actually, I did pretty good. Got all the way down. Ideally, yeah, that's what it should look like if you get close enough. Good to go. All right, with the rabbit fur all taken care of, let's transfer it over. Not looking to fill this up because we're just doing the one jig, and this will be way more than we need even for that. I also found, having done this a couple times, that if you put too much in here, it just floats to the top. It gets all stuck in here rather, and it doesn't want to blend, so less is more. So here's our minnow belly. I'm going to pull some of this out as well. Ice dub. Should be plenty. And we'll pulse it. See that? It's not moving anymore. So we don't want to cut it up. We just want to blend it. This is looking pretty good. There we go. See that? And there it is. Our own dubbing. Now, one thing you could do, I saw one gentleman do, was go to the craft store, Walmart, whatever, buy some acrylic, has to be acrylic yarn, and cut it up in real small, like, I don't know, half-inch pieces. You can actually add it to this, and it'll make a natural fiber / acrylic blend. You can also use different colors of that acrylic blend or that acrylic yarn to change the color pattern of what you've got going on. So if you wanted to lighten this up, make it more of a gray, you could just add some white to it or some gray to it or whatever you want to do. So sky's the limit, but we're just going au naturel today. All right, we're back at the vise, dubbing in hand. Let's build this jig. Here's our VMC 1/8 ounce. I'm going to start it off with some 210 denier flat wax in black. If you've got 140, that would be a good use for that today. I've got 140 in white, but not in black, so we're going to go with 210. First thing is to put in our squirrel tail. So I've got it pre-cut. It's about a hook length, thereabouts. I always like to tie mine in with the hook pointing up. I feel like it gives better coverage. Tried not to get too much of this stuff because, man, does it like to turn on you. And then we'll go beyond and we'll come back. There we go. Beautiful. Whoops. Very nice. Next step in, some Flashabou. This is one strand of Flashabou cut in half. I'm going to put 1/2 on either side. So let's do this side first. Get it right on the side. There we go. Come back up. Same thing on this side. Right in the middle. You guys see that? Right down in the middle. Make sure I couldn't see that part as well. Trying to get you a good shot on the camera. Yeah, that'll work. Nice. Alright, flip it all the way over. We're going to come back right about the middle of our thread there. Now we need to tie in our woolly bugger saddle hackle. I've already prepped this. You can see I've pulled the barbels out. I've also created a little anchor point right there at the end. We're going to tie the tip in, so as it moves towards the head, the longer fibers gets longer and longer, so we have a taper. I'm not going to counter rib this. One, I don't think it's necessary. It's just a crappie jig. If it was maybe for big toothy critters, things like that, then yeah, absolutely counter rib with some wire. But I think we're going to be fine. There we go. Put that in my material clip just to keep it out of the way. And from here, we're going to do a dubbing loop. You could spin this on, but I'm looking for a little bit buggier, a little bit more voluminous body. So we're going to do a dubbing loop instead. I always like to have a little extra on the dubbing loop just in case. We can always cut some off. So I'm bringing the line down a little longer than the bobbin, 2 wraps crossed, and then push that all the way back to where your thread stops. You don't want a gap between the tail and the start of your body. Once you've got that, and you can advance all the way to the head. Bring the cradle around because we will use the rotary function on this one. I'm going to get out some wax just to help the hair stick to the inside. So I'll wax that up. This is just Wapsi dubbing wax. Makes things a little easier. Grab my dubbing loop spinner, put that in, and then to our dubbing. So grab small bits, kind of spread it out in your hand, right? And feed that into this loop. All right, there we go. We've got our dubbing loop all set. I'm going to grab the end right after the dubbing. I'm going to pinch it there, and I'm going to spin a good bit until I feel it tightened up underneath my fingers. Then I'm going to let my fingers go, and it'll spin that first one. We'll adjust from there and then keep going. There we go. Spin, spin, spin. That first one just gives you a little bit more control without, it helps to grab that fiber, those fibers, and really lock them in, as opposed to just kind of doing it slowly and they want to fall out on you. Now you will have some loss here. I'm going to go ahead and spin this up, and then we're going to go through and we're just going to lightly pick through and get any of that loose stuff to come back out. So you will definitely have some. See that? So from here, we're just going to spin it on. Again, make sure that as you start this, that first wrap is down by the tail. Nothing looks worse than a tail with a gap there and then the body just looks funky. So take your time, get it right on that tail. And I'm going to have to, well, maybe not. Thought my feather was going to give me trouble. There we go. Go around that hook or that bait keeper right there. No big deal. There it is. Yeah, I like it. Got extra, don't mind. Want the extra. Better to have, at least with a dubbing loop, better to have a little bit extra, in my opinion, than not enough. That was 2 behind, 2 in front. Lock it in. Go ahead and cut off the remainder. All right, and now we're going to put the thread back on the bobbin because we're going to spin our feather through here. So get that first one behind and then just spin it through. It's going to want to turn on you some. This feather had a twist to it anyway. There we go. All the way up. There we are. And now I'm at the head. I'm going to give it 2 or 3 turns up here just so I have a nice big collar, nice big throat. That's 2. See if we can get 1 more out of it. Yeah, getting into the thicker feathers there as well. So behind it, cross over twice. In front of it, give it a nice little tug just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Now I like these curved scissors for stuff like this. Allows me to get in sideways without having to get my hand in front of my face. So it allows me to get in sideways and just nip the end. All right, I think that just about does it. Just a whip finish now. 1, 2, 3. And we'll grab our Loon water-based head cement. Paint that on the threads. And maybe just drop a teeny tiny little bit right there. There we go. Pull it on down. Go back to those curved so I can get in there close. Looks pretty decent. I think that turned out pretty darn nice, especially for using our own dubbing that we just made. That's pretty sweet. Very cool. So, you know the drill. I'll get some close-up shots for you next, and then we'll definitely go over to the test tank and see how she swims. Well, I consider that a success. Definitely more of a profile jig, right? Don't give as much much movement rather from the squirrel tail as you would say marabou or Arctic fox, but a great profile jig. Love a woolly bugger. You got to see the body paired up with the dubbing, especially in the current when I pulled it up into the current. You can see that volume, just gives the illusion of body. So I thought that worked really well. I'm loving those VMCs. It makes me want to get a Do It Molds, what is it, a moon eye jig that has the giant eye on the front. I think they're cool looking. I may have to look into that mold for the future. But this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed something a little different, making our own dubbing and then turning it into a crappie jig. If you did enjoy today's video and you'd like to see more just like it, then click on this video right here. If you're curious why I call the channel SDG, then click on this video right here. Otherwise, until the next time, I'll see you guys in the shop. Because we do soft plastics too.